I'm a little more excited this week. Why? Because your two favorite bites were actually being streamed over at G-Star 2018. You know, one of the largest gaming conventions in South Korea. Yeah, our faces were plastered all over a huge mounted TV from DG Entertainment. I mean, I'm just saying, that's pretty freaking cool, man. If you want to take a look at this, head on over to my personal Twitter at BiteSticks to see. Anyway, this week we have got some juicy news for all of you, so strap yourself in and let me take you for a ride. Let's kick this off with a big one. Dragonhound, formerly known as Project DH, was first announced 2 years ago back at G-Star 2016. At G-Star 2018, Nexon took the stage and opted to show off gameplay footage of the upcoming monster hunting ARPG. Dragonhound is being built on Unreal Engine 4 and is being developed by the team behind the popular Vindictus action MMO DevCat. The main selling point of Dragonhound is the fact that they incorporate mounted combat, something that isn't really traditionally found in MMOs. For those of you that are unaware, G-Star is a large South Korean game show convention that takes place every year, bringing both Korean and overseas game developers together to showcase their latest titles. The gameplay footage that players are shown appears to be tutorial-level gameplay set in a futuristic steampunk-styled fantasy world with large mechanical turrets and weaponry mounted onto horses taking on giant overgrown beasts. Players participating in the preview can be seen hunting various kinds of dragons with huge Gatling guns and cannons. From what was shown at G-Star 2018, it appears as though combat focuses primarily at long range, with both players and enemies alike attacking from a distance. It does resemble Monster Hunter quite a bit, so fans of the monster hunting genre like God Eater or Dauntless, and of course Monster Hunter itself, will likely feel right at home. Although, it looks like it supports a significantly larger number of players, which actually could be very fun. Yes, we finally have news on Star Citizen, the ridiculously crowdfunded sci-fi MMO that has an expected release date of like 2037. If you were unaware of what Star Citizen was, the game is a buy-to-play sci-fi themed MMO that puts together a persistent universe, spaceflight simulation, and FPS genres together to make something that caters to a much larger genre of player. The developers behind the game finally have their very first fully explorable planet, and in celebration of that are launching a free fly event that will allow anyone to join the game and log in free from November 23rd to December 1st, 2018. Players will also be given access to every single operable ship and vehicle currently in-game for 24-hour-long tests. So, what are you waiting for? Jump in and test Star Citizen out now. If you thought this one was dead, yeah, then you were probably right. It's dead, but I mean, not so dead that the player base has all but abandoned it yet. There are still a couple hundred players occupying the game, and this update is aimed at them. A month after celebrating its 8th anniversary, Nexon has announced that the hack-and-slash MMO Vindictus is receiving a new hero. The warrior-turned-merciless assassin is named Grimden, and yes, the character just so happens to be another male, which is great news because let's be honest here, Vindictus has an overabundance of titties. And while that is all well and good, look how other games turned out by catering only to gamers that wanted to play females. Here's looking at you, Terra. Grimden will be launching on December 11th, and until then, Nexon will actually have 2 ongoing events to participate in. One that boasts some leveling bonuses, and the other providing returning players some sweet bonus loot. So if you've been contemplating going back, now might be a good time to. Sorry guys, you aren't getting the Lynn Warden this year. Whoopsie. So I'm still wrapping up Heavensward with my wife, Mrs. Sticks, but this little announcement got my nether regions all tingly. Fresh off the success of their astonishingly successful Stormblood expansion, Square Enix have announced that Final Fantasy XIV will be receiving a brand new expansion titled Shadowbringer, slated for release in the early summer of 2019. The announcement trailer, or teaser as they like to refer to it as, was probably one of my favorite cinematics for Final Fantasy XIV to date. It was filled with little goodies such as a flashback to the adventures of the generic Warrior of Light, showcasing every job from the 1.0 cinematics Archer to the 4.0 cinematics Samurai. We also saw Thancred with a Gunblade, a weapon event type that we don't actually have in game right now. Spoiler alert for one of the new jobs promised in the expansion? I think so. Beginning with the 4.5 patch, players will be able to play as the new Blue Mage job, with the official release of Shadowbringers bringing with it multiple jobs itself and a new race. Suspected to be the Viera, fans of Final Fantasy XII and Final Fantasy Tactics know exactly who they are. Oh yeah, we may finally be getting sexy bunny girls, and my wife can't be more excited. She's always wanted to be a sexy bunny girl. I mean, outside of dressing up at like Halloween. Accompanying all of that is an increased level cap up to 80, a reorganized, re-examined, refined, and improved combat system, new regions, a plethora of new story, and a merging of the MP and TP stats into a single resource. Now, for an in-depth look at everything being added, and believe me, there is an absolute ton here, you'd be better off looking at a recap of the event. Suffice it to say, I am hella pumped. In Lost Ark news, the game finally entered open beta testing this month, and players have flooded their servers. So many players, in fact, that the team behind Lost Ark, Smilegate, had to block IPs outside of South Korea from accessing the game. This has resulted in a lot of non-Korean players ending up banned, but Smilegate have promised that this is solely to prevent Chinese players, Chinese specifically here, from connecting to and accessing the game through unauthorized methods. This was also done, supposedly, in an attempt to assist with alleviating queue time issues, having anywhere between currently 85,000 to 150,000 player queues to actually get in game. Smilegate have attempted to circumvent queue times by adding additional servers, but the addition of new servers brings with it even more players that are spiking queue times even higher. So, yeah, good luck with getting in game, guys. Area Games, who is known for making some of the worst, most heavily pay-to-win, stinking pieces of garbage the MMO genre has ever produced, released Echo of Soul way back in, I think it was 2015. It did so bad, though, that they had to shut it down and relaunch it under GameaGo as Echo of Soul Phoenix. That, admittedly, was equally as bad, granted, but they had lost publishing rights in North America. Fast forward to 2018, and a completely unknown publisher, Blue Potion Games, purchased distribution rights in North America and are preparing to launch the game into early access. I mean, personally, I highly doubt it's really going to do any better than it already did. You know what? Hey, you go, Blue Potion Games. You milk that game. Unlike Blade & Cell that isn't introducing the Lyn Warden this year, Terra, in their new Fiery Featherweight patch, are introducing the Brawler class to the Ellen race and a new dungeon. But hey, Ellen Brawler, man, who cares about anything else? We get to play as tiny little Fisters of Fury. And, I mean, there's also an event going on that'll grant players special shinies if you make it to level 65 before December 11th. But guys, little Fisters of Fury. Warframe actually just rolled out their latest Fortuna update recently, and with it, hit a new concurrency record. The original record was of 129,000 players, which is, I mean, absolute insanity. The new record, though, 132,000. And yes, while a few thousand player difference doesn't really mean much in the grand scheme of things, NeoWiz believe that Bless Online, which has a concurrent player base of around 1,500, is a huge success. So, I mean, if that's anything to go off of, woo! Go Warframe. I mean, this is actually proof that the game is growing in size and momentum, though, as the player base is continuing to climb with each new update they push out. Do note, though, that only Steam players are counted here. Console players and players not launching through Steam are not included, so player numbers are likely, I guess, to be inflated even further. Now, speaking of NeoWiz and Blast Online, NeoWiz actually announced that a new dungeon is going to be released in their new update coming out on November 21st, and 2 new DLCs are going to be available, Dragon Knight and Serpent Squire. Yeah, they're going to be available for purchase through the Steam store. However, at least initially, they're going to be available at a discounted rate. This is in an attempt to get as many sales as possible and make as much money as they can. Like always, NeoWiz, you're, well, something. I guess I probably shouldn't say in a video. But I mean, you keep milking that cash cow, NeoWiz. You keep milking it. For those of you eagerly awaiting any and all news pertaining to Mass Angstof's re-release of Raiders, you'll be happy to know that they have released a gameplay video showing footage of the improved game systems in Raiders. There have been various improvements made, changed, and cut from the game altogether. One such change comes in the form of an overhauled skill progression system. I mean, I've always thought that Raiders looked and played great personally, and I'm glad to know that Mass Angstoft are still working on bringing it back to life. No ETA on a release is being given yet, but I will keep you all updated whenever something does in fact come to light. Nexon had quite a few games to show off at this year's G-Star 2018 game conference. Astelia Online, a beautiful anime-inspired MMORPG developed by Studio 8 and Baronson Games, was revealed to be releasing on December 13, 2018 in South Korea. Astelia Online is an interesting new take on the MMO genre, blending a mixture of both MMO and TCG elements to provide players with an MMO experience supposedly like no other. Astelia Online utilizes a unique card-based system that allows players to both collect and then combine various cards to call forth powerful companions to aid them in battle. The companions in question are very crucial to the game as they carry with them a variety of effects. Some offer things like buffs, others provide debuffs to enemies, crowd control skills, can act as tanks, or even healers. The game is going to offer 5 unique classes to choose between: the Archer, Mage, Rogue, Scholar, and Warrior. The companions, referred to as Astos, come in 4 distinct types: Aid, Guardian, Savior, Servant, and 13 different classes such as the Faring Knight or Warrior. Astelia actually has a lot of endgame content to offer players in the form of large-scale PvP and PvE within the same field of battle, a large PvP Coliseum, a PvE tower, and Guild Wars, just to name a few. Astelia, unfortunately, does not have a confirmed Western release date yet. Okay, so we're back to Blade and Soul, but like last week, this one's going to be a little bit different. We're discussing a single franchise here, or the franchise as a whole here, Blade and Soul, but we're also simultaneously discussing the 5 different games within the franchise currently in development. The reason that this is being separated from the first Blade and Soul segment is because that was for the PC version only. These are all the new titles that are currently in development. Blade and Soul Revolution is powered by Unreal Engine 4 and is based on the popular IP from NCSoft Blade and Soul. Blade and Soul was released on PC, whereas Blade and Soul Revolution, like Netmarble's Lineage 2 Revolution, will release on mobile devices. The game is expected to follow the original game's story, including the conflict with Jin So-yeon and the search for Twilight's Edge. Blade and Soul 2 is the official sequel to the original Blade and Soul PC title that NCSoft is hoping bridges players over to the next era of the MMORPG genre. New areas to explore, new characters to meet, and an overhauled combat and graphical style are set to make Blade and Soul perhaps the most stunning PC MMORPG to date. Blade and Soul M, not to be confused with Blade and Soul Revolution, also a mobile Blade and Soul title, hopes to be a faithful recreation of the PC Blade and Soul title with enhancements to the combat system, graphics, and an extension to the story that we're experiencing in Blade and Soul right now. Blade and Soul S is actually a prequel to the Blade and Soul PC game. However, instead of utilizing the traditional graphical style that every other title here uses, they're opting to go for a chibi graphical style, but they're also touting that they have a completely open world experience. So, 4 Blade and Soul games are all under development. It's unfortunate about the mobile titles and that NCSoft are likely to make the games complete pay-to-win messes like the original Blade and Soul, but hey, at least they have a future outlined for the franchise. Finally, Lineage 2 M, much like Lineage 2 Revolution, will take place on the continent of Aiden, but will actually be more of a faithful recreation of the original Lineage 2 game released onto PC, whereas Lineage 2 Revolution was, I guess, more of like a typical Autopath mobile game. NCSoft have made claims that this will actually be their largest mobile title to date, overshadowing everything else they have ever pushed out. Fans of Lineage 2 may be happy or even disgusted by this new revelation. Time will tell how it pans out ultimately, but it's NCSoft, and if Blade and Soul or Ion or anything to go off of, yeah, pay to win runs rampant. So bye Lineage 2M, or maybe hi Lineage 2M, I don't know. And that pretty much wraps up this week in MMO news. I'm sure there's something I missed somewhere, but this is all the news that I personally witnessed and experienced this week. Anyway guys, that is it for me. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Peace. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, drop a like, leave a comment, consider subscribing to my channel over here, checking out another video, or following me on Twitter at ByteSticks to just chat or hang out.